Christmas Day. That's the day I'm filming this. This is my very first vlog. I am Kimberly Taylor, and I am a harpist and a creator and a generally all-around creative being. And I thought we would do some cozy content today as I change some strings on my harp and unpack the Christmas season, as well as talk about some of the projects I'm going to be working on for the new year. I like to take a time between Christmas and New Year's to just sort of unpack everything that has happened in the year. I go through what my goals were. I look at what actually happened versus what I visualized would happen, and I have a journaling system I use for that, and I'll talk about that in the video later or in a separate video. We'll see how it goes. I have here my cup of cheer. It's you know, that good old-fashioned, they call it Russian tea blend. It's probably nothing Russian about it, I am sure. But it's a mixture of instant tang, some instant lemonade, thrown in with some instant tea. You mix that all together with a little sugar, not a lot. You can control your sweet there if you wanted to. I throw in a lot of cloves and cinnamon and, of course, some nutmeg. I also put some bits of dried orange and lemon peel in this, and I think it just gives it a little bit more, like, I don't know, a little extra edge. Great for a scratchy throat. And just a little bit of pick-me-up. Okay, put that down. Let's talk first strings and changing strings. I've mentioned in my blog that I think that we can keep strings on our harps a lot longer than a lot of people think we can. Personally, I like to have my strings on it to be fairly worn in, but not too worn in. There is a sweet spot where they hold tune really well, at least on my harp, and I don't have to be always tuning so hard to try to keep it in tune. New strings don't hold tune very well. Old strings don't hold tune very well. A nice worn in string settles in, will go forever and be just fine. So right now, I noticed during the season, as I was playing a ton of Christmas gigs, I don't know how much harp echo I'm getting in this video. We will see. Might be a problem in the future. Who knows? Let's think about that twice. Anyway, I noticed as the season progressed, the Christmas season in which I had, way too many rehearsals and performances in a very short period of time. I think from my birthday in November up until the 19th or the 20th, I had some sort of obligation every single day. And that's okay, that's the season. But during that, I noticed that my strings were starting to not be there for me as much as they used to. That's starting to go what's called false, where the string is still officially, you know, intact, but they start to pull apart. The little fibers, think of it as a piece of yarn that's been pulled on. Those little fibers are starting to narrow out, and the string's becoming uneven along its length. That unevenness leads to an unevenness of pitch. So even getting it dead on with your tuner and trying everything you can, it still will sound funky, like really funky. Or as one of my teachers would call it, ick yuck. And then she would say, pull on it. Because sometimes pulling on it made the string level out a bit. And at least that was the idea, and it wouldn't sound so bad. I really don't know. All of it sounds kind of spurious to me. But I do know I do that when a string sounds ick yuck. And if you work with a stringed instrument, you know what I'm talking about. So mine have moved past moving into the ick yuck stage. And it's no surprise. I keep a string diary, which I will show you here my video of things that I have on my string changing table. and tuning key, string diary, strings, clippers, pencil, and string ends ready to go. One of those is the string diary, which has I put in the date, and the octave string, and the string name that I'm changing. So in the diary, there is the date, which string was changed, what kind of string it was. So if I know, for instance, how long that Vanderbilt nylon is hanging on versus my bow brand gut, you just don't know. You don't really know if you don't keep track. I do know from my diary that I have not changed much in the way of strings since May. Looks like I started to restring in May and life got in the way, which it happens. I am surprised that between May and today, I've only had 2 broken strings. However, if I go into my spring season with these strings that I have on here now, I'm gonna have broken strings during performances, and that is no fun. It's just no fun. So I am going to have to suck it up and change some strings. So I randomly grabbed some strings out of my string bag because I like randomness. It makes my life fun. And yeah, one could have a system, but I am definitely not one of those who wants to change all my strings in one day and spend the next week tuning and tuning and tuning. I am going to hurt my hand. I just know I am. So I will be doing a few a day until it's done. Usually takes me about a month. And maybe I'll do it quicker than that this time. And then I'll put in my order for some new strings to fill in the gaps in my set. And I think I'll also get myself some new petal felts because I'm relishing some new felts. And they probably could use a switch up because I don't think I did a very good job last time. Anyway, so first of all, today we're going to change a first octave F. I'm going to be putting a Vanderbilt nylon string on there. I used to string my harp up completely in gut all the way up to the top because it's an old line in Healy 23 and there was no reason not to. However, as the harp has aged, it's gotten very, very mellow. And I have found I want a little bit more brightness up at the top to really punch through an orchestra. The gut just doesn't have the same, that really brillante sound that's become very popular in the harp these days. And here my harp's all warm and rich. It's like they're expecting a raspberry sauce, and I'm giving them a creamy butter sauce. It's just not the same world. So anyway, I personally like a little sharpness in my upper register, not sharp as far as the volume, but a little more brightness. So I started putting nylons up top. And this is first octave F. Gonna write it in my diary here. And Vanderbilt nylon. Very good. There's my string out of its package. It's a black one. Good. Better be, it's an F. Okay. Tuning key. I'm gonna turn the camera here so we can see me at the harp. Yeah, not super easy. First octave, we count from E to F down for our octaves, which is really weird, but it is what it is. It makes sense to the harpists. Well, this string has not been changed in recent memory. I'm going to hold it up really close and you can see where our culprit areas are. You can see that there is definitely, oh, will it focus? There's definitely wear there. And somewhere, yeah, there's more spots where the black has completely chipped away. Anyway, dead. It's off. Now I have to replace it. Best thing to do to get a new string on is to get rid of the old one. This is not meant to be a string changing tutorial. As I said, I'm just chatting as I change, talking about strings. They are the life's blood of the harp. They're what you feed your harp. By the way, I didn't learn this particular trick until I was later on in the whole harp world, and I was way too old to have not figured this out earlier. But instead of trying to thread it through the back, thread it through the front. It's so much easier. Okay, tie that crazy little string knot that we spend time with. I know when I was a kid, my teacher sat me down and one afternoon with some old strings and had me tie this knot until I got it right and I knew what I was doing. Thank you very much. Dear old Marion Faust. I don't know if anybody listening to me studied with her, but she had a way about her, and that was one of the, she knew how to teach the practical things as well as the not so practical things. Okay, this one's going on. Always make sure, I don't like to let the too much slack happen, then your string end falls out. Although I do throw a second little knot over it, so it's not such a bad deal. Okay, let's put her on. Make sure it wraps right. Stick it in place. Hold it up. I love doing that. Bringing a string up the pitch. Okay, that one's on. I'll continue to tune it. I do not like to bring them sharp and then let them pull down. Strings do have a memory, and so you want them to remember in tune, not sharp. Sharp is not in tune. It can mask as in tune if it's just a little sharp, but it's not. I'll talk probably about that later. I have lots of my own little personal weirdities about strings and tunings. Bear with me. Maybe you'll catch up something you didn't know, or maybe you'll think I'm crazy. Either way, you can leave a comment below. I don't mind. What are your experiences with different strings? I'm double checking, making sure I have another length there. I do. Very good. First string on of my 3 I've chosen for this session. Yay! Stick what's remaining back in its envelope. Put that aside. So, I think I've earned, after getting that string on there, yay! I believe in celebrating the little things as well as the big ones. So, I'm going to turn this back to me more again. Okay. Hi. More tea for me. That is good. Those spices, oh my goodness. I'm going to have to do some cooking content because I do love a good little project like this. The Russian tea blend also makes a really nice gift. So, yes. I played a lot of Christmas gigs. More than I've played in many years. Of course, prior to COVID, I had just relocated, gotten married, had some other challenges that needed to be overcome. So I didn't have very busy holiday seasons for a while. But this year, there was just enough of opening up that every single organization I work with wanted to do something special. And people were on those stages and audiences were out there. I would say in general here in the Pacific Northwest, people have been very good about masking. But I am hoping, right now I'm in that period of time where I am hoping that despite my own personal precautions and all of that, that I don't come down with something. Anyway, we will see. So far, so good. And anyway, did church services. The best one for the last one was they actually brought a live camel into the church and walked it around as part of the procession of the Magi, and that was truly fun and magical. I was not expecting it the first night. They should warn you about such things because it's really distracting. But anyway. And I played some symphony orchestra concert. It was a big Broadway thing where a Broadway star came in. And so basically, if you would understand as a harpist what this means, is I did play a lot of glissandos. And I did use felt picks. I decided this year to not give myself blisters because blisters are not fun and pain is not fun. And why do I want to associate more pain with my playing? I just don't. So picks it was, and I've come to terms with them. Hated them in the past, but it's better than blistering for sure. And it's just not worth it. Everything was big and amplified, and I ended up probably for the first time, actually I think it was the first time where I got to gigs and they're like, hey, listen, we're trying to get the sound better. And I said, hey, I have an onboard, I have a pickup I have installed in this harp, and that pickup is ready to go. All you have to do is plug in. Here's the kind of plug you need. And so useful. What a useful thing. Even though personally, I thought they were gorgeous acoustic spaces, but now today, everything's getting live streamed. So having that direct line from the harp really helped from the miking, picking up more of the oboe and more of the percussion than it needs to. I will find my info on what my pickup is and find a way of putting that in this video. Note to myself and to you. I like this one particularly because it was super easy to install, did not require me to drill any holes in my harp, and was rather affordable, relatively speaking. Is it any of it ever affordable? I don't think so. Okay, on to another string. It's another first octave. The grab bag approach is kind of fun. I have here another Vanderbilt nylon, first octave G. These were sitting separate. I think that's because I didn't have them when I last did my order, so it's good that I'm doing these now because Lord knows the last time I changed these strings. It's ridiculous. But when you're not gigging, why waste the money? Strings are expensive. Okay. Take the string off. First octave G. Oh yeah, this baby does need to come off. I could see the pitting. Yep. Pitting is what happens when the mechanism pinches it. It just starts to eat away at the integrity of your string. So you can actually, oh wow, maybe underneath the darkness you can see it kind of pins sharp there because it's where the fourchette of the mechanism has been pinching the string all this time. It's amazing this thing is even still on the harp, but yay, it's off now. First octave G and first octave F have not been changed in the year 2021, and it's almost over, so they're definitely past their year mark. String ends, unfold the string. Guess wait, okay. There we go. We had some window work done. We don't have a blind back in this window yet. Need to do something better back here. But right now, this festive cloth is proving to be our blind. Stick the string in, pull it out, tie the little knot, reinforcement end, stick it in there. Do your own string changing music. There we go. All right. Finding the peg hole. Found it. There it is. Good. Okay. Tuning key. Okay, next. Clip it. I don't save it to let down. Why would you want to do that? Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing. But if you have that little curly cue up in there, and I've seen people tuck it or they weave it around there, you are really destroying the integrity of your string. It's not going to hold pitch well. It may hold it, but not well. You're increasing its chances of being false. You're also increasing your chances of sympathetic buzzes. I mean, I know they're expensive, but there's better ways of dealing with it. Okay, that's 2 down. Yay! Okay, got one more for us today, and I think that'll be enough for one video. And I will share with you next some of the other projects that I'm working on. I have been, this is not necessarily harp related, but kind of it is, only in my mind, but I've been building a Victorian outfit from the bottom up as I've been learning to sew, and that's been great fun. And right now I am in the hand finishing portion of working on a Victorian period corset. I like the Victorian period. And as I've been learning to do my own sewing and clothes and knitting and everything, I am chosen this as a first thing to do, just to get the foundational pieces available to myself so I can start thinking about, you know, fancier outfits to go with it. Of course, everyone wants to make ball gowns because they're great fun, but I do plan on doing something along that line. But you need the day wear first. You need something to actually, you know, pin it down. So I will show you what I'm doing with that. Also, I am going through my journaling stuff, and I use creative journaling to organize my thoughts and make goals and follow my dreams and that. And I have done this since, I think, 2017, and where I set up a book every year at the beginning of the year, and it travels with me throughout the year. So between now and then, I like to digest my old book, and by going through it and seeing what happened and what didn't, and doing some final thoughts on that before I put it away, and gathering my materials for my new book. So currently, that is becoming an organization project upstairs in my office space. So it's just gotten to be crazy over the holidays. It's not even usable as an office space right now. It's got too much stuff piled around. Okay, our next string here is a 4th octave C. That's middle C. I'll double check. My brain might be crazy. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th octave C. That's middle C. My middle C looks pretty good, but it does have a whisker halfway through. Whiskers are not good. The color coding makes them seem okay, probably when they're not, but it has to come off. I don't know when it was last replaced. I could probably look back in my string diary, which I recommend keeping for this very reason, but I'm not going to look for it now. But I'm changing this middle C. Let's take off the old one. Do you want to see my sweater? I might have seen it now. Okay, there we are. All right. off the harp. It's a fairly long string. I don't think I can get a good image of the whisker. It's too tiny. I don't know, you can kind of see it there. Not really. I can feel it, and you can hear them. They go a little as you're trying to play. Most people don't hear it, but to the harpist, it's very annoying. Okay. I am using a Vanderbilt Classic Gut. I've been pretty pleased with these. Fourth octave, write it in the journal. C, Vanderbilt Classic Gut. Okay. Changing strings. We all have to do it. Also, double checking, I think I was correct. You don't need to use a reinforcement on middle C. I honestly remember by seeing if there's one in there the last time. If there isn't, I assume I don't need one. It's been on there a long time, and that's been no problem. Okay, here we go. Tied my knot, pull it tight. Also, you don't need to catch a little bit either on this one like you do. You have to sandwich your string in between two wraps on the upper octaves, but down below like this, it's enough to secure it just to wrap it on. On there now. In fact, I'm really surprised at how quickly that came up to tune. Well, thank you for joining me for my journey here of changing the strings on my harp and talking about Christmassy stuff and end of year stuff, and hopefully you'll tune in for some of my other projects as I get them up and posted. This is something that is really kind of annoying. I want to talk to the string manufacturers about this. I appreciate that you give us extra in order to play with, like to pull it through and all of that. But it's really frustrating that you give us not quite enough extra to get another string out of it. I find this is too short. This is too short for another middle C. But it's almost long enough for another middle C. Now, this is an expensive material, but I'm going to have to throw this out. So if you gave us just a little bit more, you hear this, string manufacturers? Hope you do. If you gave us just a little bit more, we could get another string out of this instead of throwing this out. Something to consider, because this goes to waste. It's not thick enough for me to use for a reinforcement end. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. Okay. Anyway, what a way to spend Christmas, starting to restring your harp. But after this, I believe I want to practice. So I'm going to do that now. Merry Christmas.